Privilege to introduce the guest speaker for this occasion. He is Dr. Stanley Uzochukwu, Chairman CEO of Stanel Group, whose lecture is entitled Accessing Greater Heights Through Creativity, Innovation, and Entrepreneurship. Before he comes to the podium to deliver his lecture, may I request Professor George Ezebua, the University Orator, who is also the Dean of Law, to read the citation of the guest speaker.
The Vice Chancellor, sir, permit me respectfully to stand in the existing protocol. The citation of Dr. Stanley Uzochukwu, Chairman Stanley Group, and lecturer on the occasion of the 23rd Matriculation ceremony of our great university. Dr. Stanley Uzochukwu is a Nigerian business magnate, an investor and a philanthropist. He is the chairman of Stanel Group, which has interest in the oil and gas sector. An exemplary role model. Is considered as one of the Nigeria's most enterprising individuals and that has provided jobs and training for over 7,000 young people in Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this astute and handsome entrepreneur was born on the 30th of July 1984 in Calabar, Nigeria. He had his early life and education in Jos, Plateau State. He attended Calvary Science School, St. Murumba College, and Emmanuel International College. He proceeded to the University of Jos, where he obtained a bachelor's degree in botany. Fate and destiny are the twin determinants of man's trajectory on earth. Perhaps Dr. Stanley would have ended up as a botanist, but being passionate about business, he ventured into diesel and petroleum supply to corporate organizations until Stanel Oil was registered in 2012. Mr. Chairman, sir, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, by his grace, Dr. Stanley is one of the Nigeria's youngest billionaire. In the words of Dr. Cole, you can do better than that. You want to get that grace. In the words of Dr. Cosmos Maduka, Dr. Stanley's humility and submission of self to be mentored by Nigerian political and business leaders have placed him where he is today. He was awarded an honorary doctorate degree in business, art and technology by the Commonwealth University, arising from unparalleled exploit in the business world. Dr. Stanley Uzochukwu is currently a board member of Twali Hotel and Nnamdi University Business School in Anambra State. He is, of course, the youngest member of the Governing Council of Igbinedion University of the state. He is the convener of Access More with Stanel, an annual youth empowerment program that hosts over 3,000 youth from across the country. Indeed, his passion for philanthropy, job creation, and youth development is second to none. Mr. Chairman, sir, very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, gentlemen, from our students, sounding round of applause. Let us invite. Please let's stand and give him a round of applause. Please, it's important. Let us invite our very dear, immaculate Dr. Stanley Uzochukwu to the podium for his lecture.
The Vice Chancellor, Professor Lawrence Ikechukwu Ezemonye. Sir, I would like to thank you so much for this great privilege. I'd like that you permit me to stand on already existing protocol for want of time. I'd like to congratulate all the matriculating students. Hello. Hello. I have not come to give a speech, like I said to the Vice Chancellor. I've come to share experiences, tell stories that you will learn lessons from the stories. Because examples are shared so that principles can be learned. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the matriculating students once again. Vice Chancellor, I'm going to share a testimony that I almost told you in your house. I've not shared this on any platform before. I congratulated the matriculating students twice because when I got out of school, my biggest goal was to get an admission into Igbinedion University. Listen, sadly, that didn't happen because my parents couldn't afford the fee. Sadly, and I found myself in the University of Jos. Much later, Vice Chancellor, my younger brother, the last child, when I started doing business, got into business, we were able to send him to Igbinedion University. When I got a call from an elder statesman in this country, he said to me, "Stanley, where are you?" He said, "Come and see me." When I got there, he said he wanted me to meet His Excellency, Chief Lucky Igbinedion. And I went to meet him. When I got there, he said to me, "Would your time permit you, I would like you to serve on the board of Igbinedion University." I looked at him. He didn't know why I was looking at him. I went flat on the floor, thanking him for the great privilege. He didn't understand till today why I went flat on the floor. I could not afford to pay the fees for Igbinedion University, but to the glory of God, I'm on the board of Igbinedion University today. I believe that should challenge someone. Story number one, to let you know that there is nothing God cannot do. Ascending greater heights through entrepreneurship, innovation, and creativity. When the topic was sent to me, I said to the prof, ascending greater heights, growth, is a topic on its own. I am sure everybody here wants to grow. How many of us want to grow? I am going to share some secrets and some life principles that I have followed that by the mercies of God has helped us grow. Growth is enhanced structure. I would like to let you know that if you jump up, you will definitely come down. But when you climb up, you stay up. Did you get that? If you jump up, you come down. But when you climb up, you stay up. I am still on growth. One lesson to learn from that is patience. There is nothing like accidental success. Absolutely nothing like accidental success. You do yourself a great privilege by jotting down some of the things I'm talking about, because trust me, the things I'm going to be talking about, you have never heard them before. My mentor, Dr. Cosmos Maduka, always says, .com money always goes at .go. .com money always goes as .go. What am I trying to say this morning? How many of us you remember there are times you hear, oh, all these boys that are into fraudulent activities, they say he has hammered, he bought this car. All of a sudden, he has sold the car. How many of you can bear me witness? Because, why? There is a difference between make and get. Whatever you make stays, but whatever you get many times goes. Is somebody getting me this morning? Whatever you make stays. Most times, the things you just get goes. That's why I told us that story, first of all, to start off, for you to value the privilege to be admitted into this prestigious university. That is why most times, when people make money, it stays. But when you just dash people money, many times, it goes. That is why also, when people inherit money, many times they lose all their inheritance. But when people struggle and make money, many times they keep and retain that money. I'm going to be sharing with us very quickly keys that will help us ascend greater heights. One key, a major key that has worked for me, is association. Association. I will always tell people, I've never had my mates as my friend. I always moved with those higher than me. This is a great advice to especially the new incoming students. I'm going to tell this story. When I got into the University of Jos, I had this senior walk up to me then in school and was approaching me to join a cult. There was nothing this guy didn't say to me. He pressurized me. He said to me, you must be, this is what makes you a big boy in school. I kept dodging him. And I joined fellowships in school. This same young man pressurized me so much until we got into our 300 level and he now graduated. Now, this same young man, when we started our location in Anambra, I was coming out of the hotel. That was when we were setting up. I saw this guy, a guy run up to me and said to me, do you remember me? Do you remember me? I looked, I couldn't remember him. And he reminded me who he was. I remember that that was the young man that was pressurizing me to join the cult in school. It will shock you what he was saying to me. He said, I heard you are the owner of that new facility coming up in Anambra. Please, can you employ me? Listen to this. Listen to this. I looked at him. On the first impulse, I gave him my number. And I didn't realize that I gave him my number. And he kept calling me. Of course, I didn't pick his call. There is one lesson I want the young matriculating students to learn today. The small boys and the small girls in school later become the big boys tomorrow. And I'd like you to listen to this very carefully. The small boys and the small girls in school later become the big boys tomorrow. And guess what? The big boys and the big girls in school become nobodies when the school is over. This is one truth, one proven truth. I do not want you to forget, even if you forget anything. Because, sir, what makes you a big boy? Because you don't go to class. You join the cult. You do all play when others are reading. You are not wearing designer shoes. You are not wearing designer wristwatches. And the small boys are always going to read. The small girls are always reading. I'll tell you this other story. When I came into Abuja the first time, a friend of mine through my uncle connected me, and he had briefcases that he was selling, biometric briefcases. They were quite expensive. And as an entrepreneur, I had tried many things. So I picked some of the briefcases and I said I was going to sell. So that took me to Abuja. And a friend of mine introduced me to this set of rich kids. Son of this, son of that, son of this, son of that. So one of them was supposed to take me to his father to buy one of the biometric briefcases. And they took me inside the car. There were like 4 of them. I was seated in the middle. And they were all smoking Indian hemp. And the glass were up. I was inhaling the Indian hemp more than them. My head was spinning. And one of them said to me, in the slang of those days, he said to me, "You go bomb?" I said, "What does that mean?" He said, "I should take a drag." I said, "No, I'm waiting for 4 o'clock. He said, your father will be back from office." He said, "No, just take something now." They pressurized me. I stood my ground because I had a focus. What was my focus? I wanted to sell my briefcase. Lesson to learn from this. As I speak to you today, there were 4 of them. 1 is dead. The 2 of them are in the rehab today. The 4th one is mad today on the streets of Enugu. Oh, what would have happened if I had followed them? What would have become of my future if I had taken that one drag? They said to me, that was the way this guy came, and he refused, but now he smokes more than us. One lesson to learn from that is focus. You know what brought you here. Maintain a bulldog tenacity and a laser beam focus. There are friends that will talk you down. I'm sharing this 5th story with you. When we were in school, one of my friends then, his father, rich kid, they came to pick him up with very big cars. And all of a sudden, he lost his dad. While we were in school then, he traveled after the father's burial. After a while, he came back. We graduated. He was a big boy then. He bought a Mercedes. His father left a 20-bedroom hotel, like a chalet, and other things. One day, I was lying on the bed with him, and he said to me, this was my friend though, he said to me, "Do you realize it is a privilege that I'm your friend?" I said, "How?" He said, lying on the same bed with you right now, my father's whole wealth is worth about 1-point-something billion. He calculated the houses in Kaduna, in Makurdi, everywhere. And he distributed it himself. And he said, if I have my own share, when I sell this hotel and I sell this, I would have almost 200 million. I am doing you a favor to still be your friend. I was looking at him. Then I was an entrepreneur selling perfumes. I would leave Jos travel on a night bus to Lagos, go to Mandela's. When I travel, you think I go to go and buy 20, 30 bottles of perfumes? I'll buy maybe like 4 or 5 and enter the same bus on my way back to Abuja. I'm sure some of you here don't have the experience. If you've entered a night bus before, I'm not talking about having the seat, attachment, where you have to hold the pole and the bus is moving. And you know the people that stay, the level of people that enter the night bus, they are not friendly people. When you move and you fall, the woman, the next person will push you. This is what you do till you get to Lagos. And what you do till you get back. I will come to sell my perfumes in Jos. I'm sharing all of this to you to understand that as an entrepreneur, you need to try many other things. I sold briefcases, I sold perfumes, I sold shirts, until one day I was sleeping. After praying in the revelation of the night, I saw trucks moving from one point to the other, going to a bank, delivering diesel, going to another place, delivering diesel. And around 2 a.m., I woke up. I was very excited. That is why there is nothing you can do without God. It was very clear. And I stood up and I called my friend. I said to him, I have direction on what to do. I shared the revelation with him, and he didn't just get me, but it was very clear. I'm not going to bore us with that story because we have very limited time. But today we have cause to return every glory to God. Amen. Don't be a local champion. If you are the smallest in your group, then your group is small. What surrounds you determines what you surmount. So be careful who you associate with coming into this university. When I had a little brief with the Vice Chancellor, I said to him, and I will say to you people also, when you approach life casually, you end up a casualty. Write that down. When you approach life casually. So I'll like those that are coming in to ensure that you keep focused and you don't approach this opportunity casually. I'd like to let you know that the only way up is no tree grows from up to down. It grows from the roots. I'll share this little testimony. We were privileged by God to buy the franchise for Chicken Republic 5 years ago. When I had the opportunity to do that, you can imagine from oil and gas going to counting meat pies and buns. My people didn't understand what we were doing. But guess what? When I bought the franchise, I asked the executives, please don't let anyone know that I just purchased the franchise. And guess what? I went and I was walking in a store, a Chicken Republic store in Ajose Odogun in Lagos. I'll take off my wristwatch, park my car, cross the road. And I walked in that said store for 3 months. When I got in, you walk at the back of the house first. Because you need to learn the cooking skills and all of that. I got there and they said the new intake, the trainees have to wash the toilet. I looked at them. I was there with one of my GMs and she looked at me. I said, let's go. We washed the toilets. They were using us. And when we got to the time for the cook, we started learning. Now, as I speak to you standing here, I can prepare all the meals. Listen. When I was done with the back of the house, I started working as a cashier. Customers will come in. Good afternoon, sir. What do you want? Chickweed. I'll serve them until I worked for 3 months. And then the lady that was teaching me how to cook then, she started falling in love with me. Until one day while I was selling, and she Googled, I don't know what happened, that she just pressed Google to check my name, Stanley Uzochukwu. That was how she discovered. And she ran to me at the counter. I came out and I escaped. That was the last day I went to that shop. But look at this, hear this. That helped me. Today, I can sit in my house and just seeing the report, I know if you stole one meat pie. Listen to me. Sitting in my home, when they send my report, if you eat a spoon of my rice, I know. Why? I went down. And today, to the glory of God, we started our own eatery brand that will give a huge competition to any other eatery brand in this country. How did we get there? By going down. How did we get there? By going down. It is a lesson, and an important lesson I do not want any of us to forget today. Are you learning something today? Are you learning something? And I'll share with you the second point that I've written down. God blesses man through man. Listen to this. God blesses man through man. After you have prayed to God for a blessing, there is no time that He throws any blessing down for you to catch. What you need is in another man's hand. Did you get that? That blessing or that thing that you need, it's in another man's hand. I'm sharing this because I've had a lot of young people ask me, how do you maintain this relationship with the older generation? Because sometimes the next thing I meet him and all of a sudden he stops picking my calls. He won't answer me again. Listen to me. There are set principles that even as you come in here, and some that are not students would benefit from, and it will change your life. One major key that will help you is humility. I would like to share with you and let you know that humility is a door opener. You know, there are cultures that are dying these days amongst young people. You see an old man on your own, you walk into the Vice Chancellor's office, how you doing, sir? Stretch your hand to shake. You know, I stayed with the older people, so I learned their character. You do that with a man. The other day we were at a function and we were sitting with a senator, a serving senator, and a young man just came while the man was eating. He came and he stretched his hand. Most distinguished. The senator had to drop his spoon and shook him. When he picked his spoon back, he said, "Who is that useless guy?" You know, these things I'm telling you, if you go to Harvard, you will not learn it. And I might sound old-fashioned to you, but these are things that make you, most times you come in contact with someone that is supposed to do something for you, and all of a sudden, the person stops or the person blanks you. These are cultures that are already dying today. The culture of honor. Are you following me? Are you getting bored? The culture of honor. I always say to young people, whenever you are before anyone or a king, anyone you look up to, never go empty-handed. You know, there's a saying in Igbo land that they say you don't pour a cup of water into an ocean. That is a useless statement. When you meet a man that is where you want to be, you sow and you connect to the oil that he carries. It is something that has worked for me, and today has brought me from where I used to be to where I am today. Are you following me? The culture of begging. a young man met me. He said he met this minister. And all of a sudden, he wanted to do business. He had discussed a very brilliant idea with this man. And all of a sudden, the man stopped speaking his calls. And I asked him, so what happened? He said he sent him a message that he needed to pay his son's school fees and sent it attached with an account number. All of a sudden, a business that has been conceived, that door was shut. When you meet people, be value-oriented, add value. One day I called Dr. Cosmos Maduka. I said, sir, are you busy? There's something I want to say to you. And he said to me, Stanley, go ahead, I'm always busy. But whenever your call comes, I know it's an important call. So I always have to pick. There is so much here to talk about, but I'm already out of time. But I would like to talk about entrepreneurship. When you solve problems, money follows service. I want to be very simple and practical this morning so that you can understand where I'm coming from. When you solve problems, money follows service. Creativity, the difference between iPhone of today and Nokia phone of yesterday and iPhone of today, the difference is creativity. Innovation. Some people say, think outside the box. I say to you, think without a box. Do something new. I'd like to tell you today, today's excellence is tomorrow's mediocrity. Today's success, today's excellence is tomorrow's mediocrity. You have to keep evolving. You have to keep evolving. Change is the constant thing. You have to keep evolving. Imagine life today without transfers. Innovation, where you would have to go to the bank to make the smallest transfer. Imagine life today without delivery services. Imagine life today without a telephone. Some of us will sit here and our mother will find, how are you doing today? Imagine life without that. The same guys that created these things have all gone. They are doing extremely well on the premise of innovation. I want to believe, because I'm completely out of time, that you have learned something that will help you, that you will never forget today. How many of us have learned something today? There is so much to say, but I'm already out of time. And I'll find time to print them out and pass to the university authority, and probably you have them and look at them. I would like to congratulate you all and say thank you very much for this great privilege, and God bless you all. Keep clapping. Please continue until it's seated.